Okay, our next speaker is Dr. Jan Fox. Jan is Senior Vice President of Information Technology and Chief Information Officer here at Marshall University. Among Jan's many responsibilities and activities, she finds time to be the IT campus champion for this SciTrain project. And she's also a member of this SciTrain conference planning committee. The title of Jan's presentation is Cyberinfrastructure Today at Marshall University. I think it's actually a little bit different, but thank you, Jan.
Thank you. And truly, this is a glorious day for Marshall. I would have never dreamed so many people would come out for something like cyber infrastructure. I do want to also say that the true architects is, I get to do the fun stuff. I get the glory part of the job. But Dr. Arnold Miller and Alan Taylor are the true architects of a lot of what's on this campus, as well as my entire IT team, which I would put hands down against anyone in the nation, not just in the state of West Virginia. We have a fabulous team that works day in and day out. That team works with another group, the fabulous faculty, whether faculty or researchers or just teaching. We have an incredible group of people on this campus, along with tremendous administrators. So it will be places like Marshall in the next decade or so where you see the real challenges solved of the different wireless and security. It's institutions like Marshall where we're not siloed, where we work together and each other's benefit each other to where any good outcome is a good outcome for us all. So we need to make sure that as a state, we don't think of ourselves as anything less. So with that said, I just want to go over some of the real basics. It's going to go pretty quick because I know we're going to be limited on time. But the President mentioned the data deluge. Just think of the sheer amount of information our children are dealing with on Facebook and Twitter. Information is everywhere, not just in science. We think of increased complexity. It's always been complex. We just are starting to understand the complexity. We're understanding down to atomic and subatomic, and as well as the atmosphere and the world and generations that we've never seen before. We're getting a handle on that, and it is complex. We have more data now than the previous 3 years, from 40,000 years combined, and that's a vertical climb in data. So what do we do with this? I mentioned the healthcare side and the science. All the data going down to where we really understand healthcare and inside of genes and beyond that and can see things, understand how things work, is incredible amounts of data. Our research, we can interact with researchers the best in the world from Huntington, West Virginia. We don't have to be at the huge institutions. We can have an infrastructure on this campus built on faculty with incredible thought processes and students that are so innovative and change the world. You see people like Selby Wellman and John Chambers and someone named David Lambert, who is the president of Internet 2, all West Virginians. We don't think in siloed thoughts. We think beyond. And that is the advantage of Huntington and Marshall and the West Virginia communities of how we think. The idea of healthcare and Internet 2, if there's any area in the whole world that can benefit from technology, historically, the reasons that this has not gone absolutely vertical is that people like inefficiencies. Companies like to get paid 3 and 4 times for lab results. The government finally figured this out. They're making it the big change. You don't get paid when you do things like that. You get paid for the first one. When you make financial changes that benefit being efficient, a lot of things change. So in the next decade, you will see changes in your healthcare of things we could only have dreamed of a decade ago. And the incredible tools, in addition to this infrastructure, which I will go over in a minute. If you don't know the word Hadoop, find out what that is. This is open source products that take data and scrape Twitter. You can go sample Twitter for the next 36 hours or 36 days and see what people are saying. Look at words of what are people buying. And when the earthquake in Haiti, they were pulling Twitter and Facebook information. That was the good information where the roads were closed. It wasn't what was coming out of the news agencies. It was people using Hadoop to scrape the data. Look at healthcare, scraping all that data and things like you saw in Jeopardy with Watson, using natural language in these large computer systems and large data sets to really get to the answers of our world and get to the problems. Things like big sheets out of IBM that uses Hadoop to start scraping all that data. And look at our partners, the Ciscos of the world, the Verizon and Telecom, all the partners you see in the next room. They work with us every day along with our faculty to make these things happen and partner to make these strong and wonderful systems. What you're seeing right now are 2,000 voices strong across the world, meshed together with video. Everyone has a voice in this new world, not just the rich, not just the people in large cities, but even rural West Virginians are part of this video. That will premiere in the world at 6 o'clock today. And we talk about cyber infrastructure. I mentioned the people and how what a credible IT team that I have, absolutely incredible. But it takes a lot of pieces to make this thing work. It takes human capital, it takes machines, it takes data sets, it takes security. I have John Cutler here making sure all these systems are run and secure. It's a lot of different pieces. The president mentioned our timeline. These are just a few of the pieces on the timeline. We have lots of other grants from faculty, but we have stressed wireless on this campus, making very robust Cisco networks, Selby, that are promoting a lot of what you see in the wireless world. You'll see other pieces like all the different grants. When Marshall gets a grant, it's done with strategy. You just don't get a grant, you build on each other's successes, just like the CI Train project that Tony leads here on campus. We're building synergies with Arkansas and with campus teams and trust where people work together the way higher education is supposed to work together. It's been an incredible experience. We talk about advanced networking. A year ago in January, we opened up Internet 2. I had the pure beauty when I came on as CIO in, I guess, in 1996, that Arnold Miller and Alan Taylor had more than, I guess, it's been 25 years, put a fiber network on this campus. We had to change it 5 years ago because it had been in the ground 20 years. We have incredible infrastructure on this campus and had for a long time. But Internet 2 lets us go a step above. It lets us, instead of competing with eBay and all the other things and spam out on the regular internet, from education and research capabilities, lets us have clean networks where the speeds are far beyond anything we normally see on what we see the traditional internet today. That means real things. We're talking about these enormous data sets, pulling 36 hours of Twitter. That's a large data set. Looking at these huge medical applications, looking at visualizations, which I certainly hope you come to this evening. Tony's visualization lab is absolutely fabulous. And some of the things I'm going to kind of skip over here today, you can see in real life this evening. Selby mentioned grids, connecting our Internet to the world's other big systems, not just the United States, it's the world. So if we can't do something on the supercomputer that CI Train provided, we have resources around the world that certainly can, in Texas and Purdue and all other places. And we have partners out there. The Arkansas partnership has been absolutely incredible. We have some representatives from Arkansas here today. Once you have all that connectivity, then you see things like specialty portals. Software that says, okay, we're looking at a large CTSA grant in the healthcare side. It will change healthcare forever on this campus. It will change healthcare forever in the state. It will change healthcare forever in Appalachia. Making those specialty portals where all the tools are at one place in order to do all that analysis. And the researchers around the world that deal with genomics and down to the gene level talk and share, and you have papers. So you're not searching, it's coming to you. Same thing with cancer, something called CA Big does the same thing. We mentioned the telehealth brain, why that was so important, and John asked about redundancy. When we put in this big network around the city, it was because we were scared to death at the School of Medicine that our existing fiber link, which was in the green line right there, if a car happened to hit a pole on 20th Street, we would knock out internet to our medical facility on Howe Greer. That's pretty dangerous stuff. This ring provides that type of redundancy that any break, it keeps going. Same thing when we went into Ohio. One of the best infrastructures in the world is in the high ORNet. We connect to them, and their supercomputers and super people have the infrastructure. We laid on one more grant that Paul Hill mentioned, the SEG-P for the connecting this internet back to our communities. We want to share what we're doing. It's just not a Marshall resource, it's a community resource. We're sharing our internet having the availability with K-12, so the next generation of children have resources. That our local businesses who have collaboration with Marshall University have some potential. That we are going to have innovation and entrepreneurship by taking out those silos and thinking differently. We wanted to solve that problem that every state around us had internet SEG-P access but us. We fixed that. One of the other issues is mobility. If you have not been able to look both on a phone, iPad, and about any other mobile device, Marshall has an incredible mobile app out there. It will continue to grow, and hopefully you'll be able to take your courses on through your phone. That piece is being added, and register for your classes in the same way. We already have all these major pieces in the back. 5 years ago, knowing the power of Google, we did some mapping on this campus. We made the 3D models of all the buildings and have used that not just once. You want to reuse these technologies. We use that to something called Second Life. We have 3, maybe even more Second Life islands on this campus, or I guess in Second Life campus. This comes from Stan Maynard in our Department of Education and Arts.
Where there is engaging new learning opportunities within this virtual environment, where the traditional classroom
This is STEM outreach.
boundless learning space that is flexible and adaptable, where students from
And Tony has done incredible things with mining simulations and academy. He's actually working with China because they have such similar disasters like we've had in West Virginia, and using the visualization possibilities to even go inside of cells and looking at chemistry and connections and benzene rings, and looking again that big network I showed you around the city, being able to see inside of bodies, down to where we can actually see what's happening to people. That's why that ring was so important. That combined with what Tony's doing with visualization. And again, the people, I cannot say enough of every faculty member, researcher, administrator, and my IT staff, what it takes to do this. All working for the betterment, not of just Marshall University, but to our lives. The CI Train project, again, I mentioned several times, it's created a supercomputer on this campus with lots of resources. So if you exceed this, then we use the grid and use one of the bigger computers. It also has people support so that we can help you get there, and Tony's team can help you get there. And we have the details of our campus infrastructure. We have these written out in modules for faculty, so as they go for grants, they don't have to rewrite this. We write it for you, so you can take the power of what we developed, you can get an even better grant. Our whole online Blackboard is done in the cloud. It's not hosted here anymore. It was more cost effective and powerful for us to put that in the cloud. Same thing with many research applications. So in essence, we have an incredible world before us. Hopefully you feel the power, the energy, the excitement, and above all the intellect of having young students who can see these tools. Whether they don't use a hammer the same way, they see things differently. They know how to think in lots of different layers and sounds. Turn it down a little bit. But we can't forget this is a beautiful world. We have to make science and education and research fun again. We have to have first graders or kindergartners start working out world's problems and understand that they have the tools, even at that age, to think about solving a problem and not bore them to death.